Chapter 12. Noble Guard Visit. Excerpt from the dimming ledger of Seraphine the Listener, inked where names are forgotten but blood remembers. Not all truths are born with horns or thunder. Some wear the faces of fathers and carry scrolls instead of swords. A name once hidden can become a crown or a shackle. When the past knocks in boots and velvet, it is not asking, it is reclaiming. And the boy who answers must choose whether the name he inherits will own him or be reforged in fire. Sunlight pierced the tavern's dusty shutters, painting golden streaks across the worn oak table where Kael, Thorn, and Fergus sat hunched over parchment scraps, a dwindling pint of stout, and a modest pile of gold coins. The coins weren't neatly stacked. They were scattered, half-fanned like leaves on the table. Kael ran his thumb over one, feeling the grooves of the royal mint. It felt heavier than it should. Not just valuable, consequential. The air was a familiar blend of stale ale, cured tobacco, and fresh-baked rye, undercut by a tension just sharp enough to keep their laughter from ringing too loud. Kael tapped the table, his voice low but firm. "If we pool the gold, I can move the leaf to Vel Seren. Darren's got the buyers. The real trick is getting past the gates without bleeding silver on every bribe." Fergus leaned back in his chair, lacing his fingers behind his head. "Forget leaf. I'm brewing fire brew, strong enough to make a frost giant dance naked. All I need is a smith, some copper coils, and glass. We sell it beside your tobacco. Nobles will line up for the burn." Thorn twirled a coin between his fingers, watching the firelight catch on its edge. His smile was faint. "All this gold. I thought I'd want a manor, a fleet of wagons, maybe a private garden to charm visiting ladies, but it feels like it belongs to someone else." Kael opened his mouth to respond, but the tavern door crashed open before he could speak. Kael nodded, gaze steady. "Because it's tied to what we lost, but we can still give it meaning." Fergus grinned, tapping his nose. "And if we get rich along the way, no one's mourning the coins." Laughter rippled between them, quiet, cracked around the edges. Then the tavern door crashed open. It slammed against the wall with a bang that silenced half the room. A figure filled the frame. Salmar, Thorn's father, broad-shouldered, silver-streaked, and stone-faced. His presence cut through the smoke like an axe through bark. His boots struck the floorboards in slow, deliberate steps. The tavern chill deepened with each step, as if Salmar's presence had pushed the warmth to the walls. Salmar growled the words, each syllable heavy. "Thorn, get home now." Thorn straightened but didn't flinch. "I'm fine right here, with my friends." Salmar's gaze didn't waver. "Bring them if you must, but you're coming. Now." The room was silent. Even the barkeep stopped wiping mugs. Kael met Salmar's eyes and stood, finishing his drink with a final swig. Fergus swept the coins into his pouch with practiced speed. The three of them followed the older man out into the daylight. The walk was silent. Not heavy, but stretched, like something unspoken hung between each step. Thorn kept his eyes forward, jaw set, fists clenching and unclenching at his sides. Kael glanced his way once, but said nothing. Whatever this was, it had weight Thorn needed to carry first. Salmar's home stood near the edge of the village, a modest stone house with wooden beams blackened by time. The smell of cedar smoke and burned wax hung in the air. Inside, the hearth crackled gently. The scent was grounding, ritual, memory, discipline. The kind of smell that lingered in cloth long after fire had gone cold. But they weren't alone. 3 strangers stood waiting. The first was a tall captain in polished boots and a velvet-trimmed cloak. A scar traced his jaw, and his silver medal glinted in the firelight. His posture was regal, but his eyes softened as he looked at Thorn. Beside him stood a grey-haired sergeant major, thick arms crossed over his chest. His face was carved with age and discipline, and his silence felt like a decision. The third, a robed scribe, clutched a lacquered scroll case with both hands, as if guarding the truth inside. The captain stepped forward, voice rich and clear. "You've got your father's eyes." Thorn glanced at Salma, confused. "What's that supposed to mean? He is my father." The captain smiled, warm but sorrowful. "I served under Lord Rochagar Estenvale, as did the sergeant, your true father." Time stilled. Kael shifted, eyes narrowing as the words sank in. Fergus let out a breath, half whistle, half gasp, and stepped back like the air had become too tight to breathe. Thorn just stood there, blinking slowly, like he'd been slapped without being touched. The scribe spoke precisely, his tone careful. "You were placed here under royal decree, hidden for your safety. A stipend was paid to ensure your protection and education." Salma said nothing. His silence was its own confession. The fire popped. Salma's fingers twitched at his sides, then stilled. His face didn't break, but his shoulders had lowered by half an inch, as if letting go of something he'd carried far too long. Thorn blinked. "Why now? Why tell me this after everything?" The sergeant stepped forward. His voice was blunt but respectful. "Lord Rogar died without other heirs. The estate passed through years of regents and pretenders, but now the line's clear. Estenvale Keep, its lands, title, and holdings belong to you." Thorn's hands fell to his sides, limp. He didn't look at the sergeant, or the scroll, or the crest. He was still staring at Salma, and his eyes had started to water. Thorn's mouth parted, but no sound came. His face, usually full of smirk and swagger, was blank. The scribe unrolled a parchment. Wax seals gleamed like blood in the firelight. The scribe unrolled the parchment with great care. "Sign here. Swear fealty to the crown. Estenvale is yours. Tenants, taxes, records, and a library of tomes dating back to the Second Flame." The captain chuckled, dry and knowing. "You'll need a better cloak, and a lord's poise to match." Fergus gave a low whistle. "That'll be a lot of books, Thorny." Kael laid a hand on Thorn's shoulder. He felt the tension there, like a bow drawn too tight. Thorn's gaze dropped to the document, to the seal, to the truth. "My name isn't even my own, is it?" He ran a hand through his hair, the same way he did when bluffing at cards. Only this time, there was no smirk, just the beginnings of something raw. The scroll sat before him like a door left ajar. He could step through, but not return. Salma's voice came quiet, steadying but cracked. "It's the one we gave you, and I give it again." Salma's voice cracked on the last word. His hands didn't reach for Thorn, but he stepped back, just slightly, giving him room to choose. For a breath, no one moved. Then Thorn nodded once, barely more than a twitch. As the scribe reached for his pen, Salma turned away, then paused. Thorn, quietly, reached out and gripped his sleeve. Just once, then let go. Thorn looked up, expression hardening. "Then I guess I better learn how to be a lord."